Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here. What's going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I'm finally here after a crazy week of nothing but dealing with that freaking Mega Park export. Yes, my constant posts on here on YouTube, I know, were kind of annoying, and I'm sorry, but again, I was just so ready to be finished with that last park in my Roller Coaster Tycoon Let's Play. So, it did cause a delay in getting this review out. I am recording this on Thursday night at like 9:30 at night. I am probably going to leave it to premiere tomorrow on Friday. I'll probably maybe like do it like around lunchtime. People are going to be going on their lunch breaks at work. If you want to watch the video, watch it then. Again, I like this whole, idea of doing these premieres for my recorded reviews and whatnot. See how that goes, to see if that kind of like boosts some things a little bit. So tonight I am recording this, and then after this I will also record my thoughts on episode 3 of the Vince McMahon docu-series as well. So I'm going to record all that stuff tonight. And crazy enough also, I did announce, of course, at the end of last month that after Crown Jewel, for the rest of the year I will be taking a break from Raw and SmackDown reviews to focus on getting ready for, again, still doing YouTube videos, just not going to be structured for a couple of months. Just, we'll be throwing content out, but it's not going to be like I have to like get content out by a certain time. Other than, of course, again, Survivor Series. I will, again, do a review of Survivor Series. I just may not get to do a preview because of the circumstances. Like I said, my wife is due with our first child around Thanksgiving. The Survivor Series is the Saturday of Thanksgiving week. Chances are, well, she is supposed to be getting induced the week before Thanksgiving. But because of all the craziness, I probably won't be able to get to a preview for Survivor Series. But anyways, like I said, because I don't want to go structured and just get settled into fatherhood, I do want to take a break from the structured stuff on this channel for a couple months. But I will, of course, get back to it eventually. So this is my second to last Raw review of the year. Because next week, we'll review Raw, and the following week is the pay-per-view week, so I will just preview Crown Jewel, which, again, I'm sorry, guys, I really don't care. Crown Jewel's just not that exciting to me. And I don't know if it's because of, the fact that it's focused around bragging rights matches with the champion versus champion matches for the Crown Jewel Championship, and it's literally just a trophy prize. And then, on top of the fact that Raw is still in this adjustment period with the with going back to 2 hours, which, yes, we sound like hypocrites because we wanted Raw to go back to 2 hours for all these years. Now that it's back to 2 hours, then people are still complaining. I just think it's going to take time. Now, this week's episode of Raw was taped because I think they were going on tour this week. So this week's episode was taped from last week. So the pacing felt better. It wasn't really, again, it wasn't a horrible episode, but it really wasn't anything super duper special in my opinion. Like I said, Crown Jewel is just already feeling like one of the weaker shows of the year. Like I said, I'm not that excited for it, but it'll pass. And based off of course, how Raw went this week, based off of how SmackDown will probably go tomorrow, again, this weekend, I am going to get the Crown Jewel card, done. Now that Mega Park is in my rear view, well, except for the short, which that won't take too long to make, Now that that's done, I'm going to get back to focusing on some things. Of course, again, get that Crown Jewel card is a priority. And I am going to try to get the Survivor Series card done as soon as possible, just to get it out of the way. Don't have to worry about it. After Crown Jewel, just getting it out of the way and just, just finishing up with that as well. So yeah, Raw, again, it's still in this adjustment stage. It's not horrible. It's just, I don't know, it's because, again, Raw is just a lot more stacked on talent than SmackDown. And the fact that a lot of things are getting limited on Raw, it feels odd. And it's just, the mojo being used to watching a 3-hour Raw. Now only 2 hours is also quite an adjustment as well. But Raw was fine this week. It wasn't anything super special. Like I said, as far as the pacing and the execution, it was better than last week's. But again, that could be because it was pre-taped. So next week we'll see how it goes with when it goes back live. Which of course again will be the last time we get to analyze it with me taking my break. But it is what it is. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the show. The show opened up with Rhea Ripley, which we were also again in St. Louis, Missouri. It was the October 14th, 2024 edition of Raw. Show opened up with Rhea Ripley coming out. She calls out Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez as she wants to deal with them. But instead, we get Tiffany time! Tiffany Stratton coming out, making an appearance. Which again, yes, there are some people crossing over brands right now. But again, it's people that have to do with storylines for these Crown Jewel Championship matches. And yes, we had Jimmy Uso appear on this show as well. But again, at least these people are... I've had a feeling, even going into WrestleMania season, that we may, of course, get some crossing over of the brands. Especially with the tie blade up in the air for Raw and SmackDown for the time being. It's not going to surprise me if they softly, temporarily, drop the brand split a little bit. And then, of course, I'm sure once we get to next year's draft, then we'll get back on track. So it's not going to surprise me again. Just give these people a purpose for being on the show. And Tiffany Stratton, with her kind of being involved with the storyline with Nia fighting Liv for the Crown Jewel Championship, yes, it makes sense for her to be on the show. But she came out here because Nia has an important message. Rhea needs to stay out of her business, or she'll have a big problem. Even though I'm thinking, well, Rhea did beat Nia earlier this year at Chamber, FYI. So Nia is no threat to Rhea. But Rhea says it ain't Tiffy time. And either she gets hands on Liv and Raquel, or she can welcome Tiffany back to Raw the Rhea Ripley way. And then the shoving match breaks out, but then Liv and Raquel blindside them both and beat them down. They think he was trying to attack. I think Tiffany even attacked her with the briefcase, then stands tall with her title belt. So yeah, that was that. Instead for a tag match later on in the show where Rhea wanted to take on Liv and Raquel 2-on-1, but Adam Pearce didn't want to allow that, so she made her team with Tiffany Stratton, which basically was kind of lopsided when we got to the main event. It was just a thing of the de facto team not getting along. Nia Jax did come out and attack at the end of the show though as well, and that's really all they wrote with that. That's all really happened with that. Like I said, it's just a bragging rights title match that they're building to. They are teasing more with them than the men, possibly title changes, which could happen since they're both heels. I mean, we have Liv and Rhea still feuding, and we also seem to have Naomi going to be getting a title shot against Nia. I don't know if it's going to change, though, if I'm being honest. I don't see any of the titles changing. The men, though, don't really have title feuds going on right now. Sammy just lost to Gunther. I don't think Gunther's having another title match before then. But then we're also going to have... I don't think anybody's fighting Cody either. So, we have that. That's all that happened there. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defended the women's tag titles against Io Sky and Kairi Sane. Match was fine. Again, like I said, just this women's tag title picture, I just really don't care about. And, of course, they had Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson at ringside again. That's set up for a match on NXT in a few weeks, next week with them in Damage Control. Okay? Little crossover there, so whatever. Bianca and Jade, though, do retain. And we'll move on from there. Finn Balor was also demanding a rematch against Damian Priest. But then Pierce says, not happening, you have to defend your tag titles. And he's setting up a tournament to crown a #1 contender. We also have a hype promo for American Made, where Chad Gable talks about the dictionary definition of greatness. And they're going to be getting involved in the tag team tournament as well, I believe. Braun Breaker also cut a promo saying how about why he still chose to attack Jey Uso last week. And I like that they made it seem like that, he was, in fact, for legit, when he gave Jay that respect for winning the title the other week. But when Jay didn't give him respect back, that's what set him off. And he claims that, and basically he just, mentions how, Jay needed his family to get to the top. He didn't need anyone to get to the top. And next week, he's coming back for that title, which I'm pretty sure Braun's most likely going to win the match next week, win back the title. I know on my Crown Jewel card I put Jay versus Braun for the IC title, but I'm not changing it. I'm keeping it there, but I'm pretty sure Braun's winning the title back next week. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to be happening there, unfortunately. We also had these interviews with Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins. Bronson was sitting down first with Adam Pearce. Of course, Pearce was addressing Bronson of how he's gone too far lately, especially in the last Monster Standing match against Braun Strowman when he kind of started getting on the crowd. Bronson did apologize for going too far, but says it's ultimately Seth Rollins' fault and everything he's done has just been to get him to the main event, and if Pearce makes the match, there will be no trouble. He wants the match so he's a top guy. Pearce says that if they're on the same page, he hopes they are. He'll talk to Seth Rollins, which he did talk to Seth Rollins later on in the show. And of course, Pearce basically mentions his concerns for Seth wrestling the match. And then basically he just says, yes, I get it, I'm banged up and when he goes, but he goes, this is what we're here to do, basically. So I'm wondering if maybe the match I think they're going to do a match at Crown Jewel, which that actually would be a match I'm excited for. Not saying that, even though I am looking forward to Cody and Gunther, because that is a dream match I want. I just wish it wasn't like a bragging rights champion versus champion match. But I'm wondering now if maybe they're going to do Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed unsanctioned. Possibly. That's what they may do between the two of them, unsanctioned. But we'll see there. Alpha Academy was the first team to lose in the number one contenders tournament, and they lost to the returning War Raiders. That's right. The Viking Raiders came back after both recovering injuries. Eric was out longer with a neck injury, but they came back as the War Raiders with their NXT theme. They're still Eric and Ivar. They're not Hanson and Rowe. We'll see what happens. I'm just worried that the Viking Raiders... I'm sorry. I used to call them War Raiders again. The War Raiders. Because even when they came out, the match happened, and I didn't feel like they were as dominating as I thought they should. They should have been, if they were really being the War Raiders again. So I'm hoping this whole Viking Raider or Viking experience gimmick didn't, completely drain them out. Because it may have happened. And making them the War Raiders again just may not save them. But we'll see. They still won the match. They're moving on in the tournament. We have a face-to-face segment with Cody Rhodes and Gunther. Cody first came out mentioning how St. Louis was the first spot that started the We Want Cody chants at the beginning of the year. He then wants to talk about Gunther, but then Gunther comes out first. Gunther normally says he come out here to basically make his opponents uncomfortable, but to be honest, he doesn't have much negative to say about Cody. he actually respects Cody for, you know, what he does and how much respect he has for this great sport, as he always says, in the ring. He claims, though, but he starts calling Cody, "You like to be everyone's darling." He's not lying. Because of that he's a mess with his old friend Kevin Owens, he expects Cody to sort out his emotional mess, and he wants Cody to give him his best in Saudi Arabia. From one champ to another, Cody's seen what happens. The ring general throws his arsenal at his opponent, and they keep coming, and Gunther breaks. And Gunther has never faced him before, and Cody has beaten the most dangerous champion in WWE history. He already slayed a beast. And then the ring general shakes his hand, wishes him luck, and leaves. So to me, it looked like Cody was kind of a little more heelish than Gunther in this segment. Basically, how Cody tried to dig into Gunther a little bit there. How, you know, basically when things aren't going so perfect for him, he kind of breaks. Which is still making me feel like, because again, even though, of course, Cody dethroned Roman, Gunther's still a guy that's really been built on winning. I still think Gunther should win this Crown Jewel championship match at Crown Jewel. I feel like he needs it more, if I'm being honest. But that wasn't that bad of a promo. Kofi Kingston then took on Bron Breakker, and he lost. Afterwards, though, when Bron goes to attack them both, Jey Uso comes out and makes the save. And, cool there. The Territories are hanging out backstage, where Rhea says it's Tiffany Stratton's time to sit on the apron and look pretty. Damian gives her a pep talk. He also mentions that he thinks he's ready to go back after the world title as well, so I'm sure at some point we'll get a match with him and Gunther from a rematch of SummerSlam. We'll see how that goes. R-Truth has a match with The Miz, and I still like that they're actually are doing what I was kind of hoping they would do with The Miz. So R-Truth comes out. He still thinks him and Miz are friends. Miz didn't go all ape shit and attacked him right away. He actually did shake his hand. We also had a Wyatt 6 tease whenever the Final Testament came out. But once Karrion Kross came out, which R-Truth beat The Miz by a schoolboy roll-up, Karrion Kross, though, basically gets in the head of Miz again, and Miz snaps and attacks R-Truth. So, again, it feels like they are doing what they do. They're still a Miz. He's a heel again, but he's not the full embraced heel like he was before. He still has his soft side for R-Truth, but once he has Karrion Kross in his ear, then he fully embraced that dark side. I do like how that's something a little bit differently. So we'll see where it goes. So far for me, that's working. And then, of course, besides the main event, which was Liv and Raquel versus Rhea and Tiffany, which again ended in a DQ because Nia Jax interfered, and there was a tease for for Tiffany to cash in on Liv, as Nia told her to do so on SmackDown this past Friday, but then Dom saved Liv from being cashed in then the show. Before that, though, we did have a couple backstage segments where Jimmy Uso showed up on Raw trying to hunt down Jey Uso, and Jay just shut him out. So they're starting to tease the whole reuniting of the new bloodline. So we will in fact see how that goes. And that's all I got to say about Raw. Like I said, not much really happened. Wasn't the most firelit show I've seen for Raw. It was fine. Again, it advanced some stories. The pacing was better. It just wasn't a big, must-see show, if I thought. I'll stick with a B- for Raw this week. I gave Raw a B-. Again, Crown Jewel is what it is. I don't expect anything much more from it. So, we'll just coast to it. So what are your guys' thoughts again this week's episode of Raw? Do you think the pacing was, in fact, better? Do you also think they're going to be impacted by the, what's it called? By the fact that this week was pre-taped and will be live again next week? What do you guys think? Find out next week in my final review of Raw for 2024. Like I said, again, I will be taking a break from Raw and from Raw and SmackDown reviews for the rest of the year following Crown Jewel. And again, I'll probably start up again sometime in January. May not be, though, until after I get back from my business trip in January, which I'll be gone from January 12th to the 17th. So maybe not until I get back. But like I said, there will still be content. Topic videos, video games. Again, I need to go a little unstructured for a bit. Just take a breather, get settled into fatherhood, and just figure out what I can and cannot do, basically, anymore. So, we'll go from there. So, guys, you guys' thoughts again about Raw down in the comment section below. What grade would you give it? Again, I gave it a B-. Slap a like on the video and subscribe. More content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well, The Club of the Man 93. But also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at The Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out, and I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your night, and do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!